Recovery on Air, the official podcast of Crossroads Addiction Rehabilitation. Candid discussion about addiction and recovery with the people who have lived it, along with input from experts on the journey from struggle to triumph. Laugh, cry, and be inspired. And now, your host for Recovery on Air, Christin Day.
Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Recovery on Air, where we talk about the good, the bad, the miracles. Today, I have a special guest. I'm super excited. This is probably one of my biggest interviews of my career doing this. So, the sheriff's in town, and he dressed all up for us and everything. Thank you so much for coming. This is actually Jerry Sheridan. He is the MCSO Sheriff of Maricopa County. So, hi.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for coming. I
Thanks
know
for
that
having me.
you are such a busy man. You got things to do right after this.
Well, you know, when I signed on to being the sheriff, I knew it would be busy.
Absolutely.
But I didn't know it was going to be 7 days a week busy.
Oh, my
You know,
goodness.
at least I thought maybe 1 day a week I'd get off. But it's not seeming to be working out well
Not
that way.
at all. So before we dive into the heavy stuff, what inspired you to pursue a career in law enforcement?
Well, that's an easy question because, you know, my dad and my uncles were New York City cops.
Okay.
And so I grew up around them.
Gotcha.
And at an early age, I knew I wanted to be a New York City cop because I was born and raised in Queens.
Okay.
And I wanted to be a New York City mounted cop because I love horses.
Yeah.
And so when I graduated high school and moved here to Arizona in 1976, and about 4 months later, I joined the sheriff's office.
Wow.
And then I found out they didn't have any horses.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you needed to be in the posse and own your own horse.
Jesus.
So, you know, eventually I did.
Yeah.
You know, I've had horses now for almost 40 years.
That's amazing.
In my backyard.
Heck
and
yeah.
so, that, you know, it's a big life change thing. So I eventually got my horses.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So how long have you worked for MCSO?
I worked there for 40 years.
Okay.
And then I left, and it took me 2 times, which is 8 years,
Okay.
to get elected sheriff.
Got you.
So I've been the sheriff now for 9 months and 28 days. Not that I'm counting.
Not that you're counting.
Nope.
Right. Oh, my goodness. So when you hear addiction or the word addiction, what comes to mind to you personally?
Well, you know, I have a very good friend, former Phoenix police officer, hero officer.
Yeah.
Got the Medal of Valor a few times. And he got hurt in a fight because he didn't want to shoot somebody, and he was close enough, and he punched him in the face.
Got you.
Broke his hand real bad, and had it repaired, and then got in a car accident, put that fist through the windshield,
Yeah.
and the doctor prescribed him opioids, and he got addicted, and next thing you know, he was shooting heroin, and he spent many years in prison.
Right.
And so I tried to explain to his parents, who I'm also very good friends with,
Right.
that, you know, addiction is something that your brain wants,
For sure.
not what you want.
Right.
And I gave him the analogy of, think about this for a second. You're sitting on your couch, and you want an Oreo.
Right.
And I said, try and fight off that desire to have some Oreos.
Gets me every time.
Right? And you can't do it.
Right.
Eventually you get up, and
get
now instead of having 1 Oreo, you probably have 5,
I did.
right?
Yep.
And that is just a little glimpse of what an addiction is really like.
Right.
And so I wanted them to understand that this is something that he cannot control,
Right.
and it's very difficult to overcome that.
Absolutely.
So that's what addiction means to me. I mean, we all have some things that we don't want to, you know, Lay's
Right.
potato chips, can't eat just one, right?
For sure.
Yeah, same thing, ice cream or whatever your little thing is.
I ate the Oreos last night.
Did you?
I get it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I
So
completely.
that's what addiction means to me. It's just something that the chemistry in your brain is changed.
Yeah. How has your perspective throughout the years of your career changed, like on addiction?
Well, I think I've become more sympathetic to people.
Having empathy and compassion.
Having empathy, right?
Got you.
Because it's such a powerful force
Right.
within them.
For sure. For sure. And I think, I personally am badged to go into the jails, and I get to go into Estrella every Sunday night, and I get to take a meeting in there, and it's literally like the highlight of my week, going in there and talking to those girls and letting them know, like, I was you. 21 years ago, I sat in this same exact dorm, doing these same exact things, having these same exact charges. But like now I've completely changed my life. God willing, I'll have 8 years in November, and I couldn't imagine my life, but it takes work. And that's the thing with these, with the inmates is, I think that they're at such a vulnerable spot when they're locked up. And some of them are not talking truth, saying, oh, I want to get out. I want to, go to treatment. I want to do this, but they have to do that work first. So, you've seen people at their lowest. What are some moments or some stories that have impacted you when it comes to the addiction and recovery?
Well, I think the biggest one is that Phoenix officer.
Yeah.
That has really affected my life because he's such a great person.
Right.
When he's sober. Right. And what he did as a hero, Phoenix police officer.
Right.
To see him get down that low in his life, where he's actually went to prison several times.
Wow.
Yeah, because once he got out, he went through a treatment program.
Yeah.
Didn't work so well for him,
Right.
and next thing you know, he violates his probation, and now
back
he's
in.
sitting in prison again.
So he's back in there right now.
He is out right now.
Okay.
So I've got my fingers crossed, and
That
I
something
say a little
clicks.
prayer every night for him.
Absolutely.
Because he's, to me, he's still that hero.
Absolutely.
Still in there somewhere.
Absolutely. So addiction has been treated as a criminal issue rather than a health issue. From your point of view, where is the line between enforcement and compassion?
That's a great question, because I don't think here in Arizona we have a very good program to treat people with addictions and mental health issues too. Because let's not forget that some people start taking drugs because they're trying to self-medicate their own mental health issues. So, that is very problematic. I think that leads to a lot, not all, but a lot of the homelessness issue we have.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to seek treatment or go to a shelter because they know they have to be sober when they're there.
Right.
And that's very difficult for a lot of these people.
For sure. What are some of the biggest challenges that you and your deputies face when dealing with individuals who are struggling with addiction?
Going over my career, and I spent about 15, 17 years in a patrol car.
Okay.
I never had to fight with someone that was sober.
Okay.
If they were on drugs or alcohol, sometimes you just can't reason with an individual, right?
For sure.
And I could always find a way to reason with someone that was sober. No matter how angry they were, how upset they were about an issue, you can always talk to them and reason with them.
Yeah.
But when somebody's addicted or
In a meth psychosis,
in
all
a
that.
psychosis and the paranoia that goes with it,
Right.
including marijuana,
Yeah.
and the marijuana that people have available to today is not like the marijuana of the 70s.
Right.
Right?
It's not like it
and
used
it's
to be.
so strong and powerful that it does create that psychosis also.
Absolutely. How has law enforcement's approach with addiction changed in Maricopa County over the past decade?
Yeah, I think throughout the state, because I was on the Arizona Peace Officers and Standard and Training Board for 12 years.
Okay.
And so I got to see all the cases that came in. And we also did a lot of training issues about people with addictions and just educating the officers and the deputies and the troopers that are out there on the road to identify some of these issues and give them some ways to help deal with them and talk to them. And I think that has helped quite a bit. And we also have a program at the Sheriff's Office where we have counselors that are assigned to each one of the patrol districts. And so when a deputy comes across an individual that is on drugs, excited, we call them out, and they're able to.
Is it like a crisis response type?
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. And they're able to come out and talk to the individuals, guide them to some services, maybe even take them to some places where they might need to go, so we don't have to wind up arresting them.
Right.
Because the last thing I want is somebody that's dealing with the crisis
For sure.
to be sitting in jail, because that's not a great place.
Because it's not a great place for them.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. How do you train officers to recognize when somebody needs treatment instead of punishment?
Well, the deputies have very little discretion, but they do have some discretion.
Okay.
In some minor crimes, for example, let's say trespassing, at a convenience store or something like that. Talk to them and give them options to deal with it other than going to jail.
Okay.
And so they're able to do that to a certain extent, but if an individual commits a felony, they have no choice.
They have no choice but to arrest them.
Right.
Yeah. What programs and partnerships within Maricopa County Sheriff's Office focus on the rehabilitation or in the reentry?
We have a lot of programs in the jail system
Okay.
that a lot of people aren't aware of.
Right.
That we help treat individuals. We have people like you come in and talk to them.
Absolutely.
We have some professionals on staff too that deal with it. We have a drug and alcohol treatment program.
Okay.
But the problem with that is it's a 6-month program. And so they have to be sentenced to 6
To
months.
6 months.
And most individuals in the county jail, the average length of stay is about 13 to 14 days.
Okay.
So it's not a lot of time for us
Right.
to be able to do that. But individuals that are there for 6 months or more and are willing to enter into the program, we found it's very, very successful.
Yeah.
Our recidivism rate is quite low,
Okay.
and it's one of the best programs in the country.
That's amazing. I love that. And I would love to learn more about that and just how we can help as a community too. Going in, like I said, it's a blessing to go in there and letting people know that we can recover from this.
Yeah.
But you have to do the work. So how can we better connect people coming out of incarceration? I think that's a big deal as well. I had Dr. Thornell on at the beginning of the year, and he's the executive director of DOC. So them coming out from incarceration, how can we connect them better to letting them know like resources that are available while they're in there?
Well, we help people write their resumes for a
Okay.
job, because one of the best ways to keep somebody out of jail is to keep them employed.
Right.
And this is where it was very controversial when a sheriff that I worked for had a program called Tent City. Okay, we don't have that anymore.
Right.
I'm going to bring something very similar to that back.
Okay.
We're working on that right now. But that is for people that have been convicted. And it's a great way to get everybody together. And they work. They work either in our laundry or a food factory,
Okay.
or they do jobs around the facilities, cleaning up, and
Right.
doing all that stuff. And that gives them an opportunity to start working on things. And I'll tell you a quick story.
Absolutely.
I
Please.
was at a graduation of chain gang.
Okay.
So the chain gang was, you're there for a few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to go to work every morning. They
Right.
wake them up early. It's kind of not quite like a military kind of thing, but it was more structured.
It gives them that structure.
And I remember us standing over there when the graduation was going on, and I saw this inmate, and she was crying. So I walked over to her, and I said, "You okay? What's the matter?"
Yeah.
And she says, "No, I'm fine. This is the first thing I ever started and completed in my life."
Oh,
And she was just overwhelmed with joy.
absolutely.
And that shocked me
Yeah.
to think that this was the first thing that she ever completed in her entire
Life, for sure.
Yeah.
And they just need, even if it's just a little hug to tell them, like, you are important. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I'm super big on that. And I love that story. That's great. Because, we beat ourselves up, especially in this addiction, the things that we do and the pain that we cause our families and everything like that. It gets, it gets to where it eats us up a lot,
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, let's get into like bridging the gap. And like there's often tension between the law enforcement and the recovery community. What can both sides do better to understand and support each other?
Well, I think the key is educating the law enforcement officers
For sure.
about what's really going on out there in the community. There's a great program a doctor friend of mine runs in the East Valley.
Okay.
And I've been there a couple of times.
Okay.
And just to talk to the people that are in the program.
For sure.
And really, it was not for their benefit. It was for my benefit to
So that
see
you could
really
learn.
what is going on.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of empathy for those people
Mm-hmm.
that are struggling to beat that addiction.
Right.
And like, again, try not to have that Oreo tonight.
Right. Absolutely. What would you say to a family who feels angry at the system for getting, their loved one locked up?
What would I say to the family? Wow, that's difficult.
Instead of helping them like getting into treatment, like I just feel like we make these mistakes over and over, but on your guys' side, it's a lot different,
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes see where they get a little jaded because they're sick of seeing these people over and over, and it's hard. What can you say to them to, help them and point them in a direction?
Well, once somebody enters in the criminal justice system, it's very difficult
Yeah.
for us to begin to give them the treatment because the jail system is not an ideal place.
Right.
Right. And so one of the side notes is we have probably the largest mental health hospital in the Maricopa County Jail. A lot of people don't realize that. We have today in custody, we have about 7,500 inmates.
Wow.
And over 2,000 of them are on psychotropic drugs. And almost 1,000 of them are considered seriously mentally ill.
Right.
And a lot of them come into the system because they have abused the drugs to try and self-medicate.
Right.
And so it's difficult for us, once they get that far involved in the criminal justice system, it kind of takes on a life of its own.
Right.
And so as the sheriff and the detention officers that work in those jail systems, it's almost out of our control now.
Right.
Except for some of those individuals, like I said, that were sentenced to about 6 months, we can really try and help them. But we do have classes, and we do have clergy come in all the time. We have well over 1,000 volunteers
Wow.
that come into the jail system, and talk to individuals for all different kinds of issues. But
Right.
obviously, addiction is the number one thing that we deal with.
Absolutely. You've served this community for decades now. What gives you hope when it comes to the addiction and recovery today?
Well, I see the progress in some individuals, not as many as we'd like, but I think there's hope out there that, our staff, deputies,
Okay.
the detention officers,
Right.
they're smarter than we were
Right.
when I started. They're better educated now.
Gotcha.
I think they have more compassion for people than we were taught. And so I think that's hope that we will continue to do that.
Right. Absolutely. What role do you believe faith and community support play in breaking the cycle of addiction and incarceration?
Well, I think that in general, the public is also more aware and compassionate for individuals that
Right.
are suffering from this.
I gotcha.
And so awareness, I think, is the number one issue of what we're dealing with. And people see all the time the problems and the crimes that are committed by
For
people
sure.
with addiction. I just wish that we had more resources
Right.
to help people that want to recover. Yeah, and there's some people, as you know, that
Right.
they don't want
They
it.
don't want it.
Right.
And if they don't want it, you can't make them.
You can't. Right.
Right.
And so when they maybe reach rock bottom, they're sitting in a jail cell somewhere. Maybe that's the moment in their life that it triggers. I need to fix this.
Right. You had touched on like the stuff that you have in the jails, not just for the inmates, but your officers. And I wanted to touch on this just because I know of a lot of overdoses and the officers having to deal with that. And it taking a toll on them. What are some services that you guys offer to help not just educate them, but helping them overcome and not having to like stuff that stuff down?
Oh yeah. We have a CISM team,
Okay.
and what they do is they are mental health professionals
Gotcha.
that are on staff,
Okay.
and they help the deputies and the officers deal with a lot of the things that they see. Let's face it, working in a jail is not an easy job,
Right.
because you're dealing with a lot of these people with the addictions,
For sure.
and some are evil and all those things, and the
Right.
things that people do to each other. And a deputy sheriff out in a patrol car sees probably more in life in 1 week than the average person will see their entire lifetime. So there are those mental health issues that can crop up with people that are in law enforcement. But I think now, in 2025, we're pretty educated on that.
Right.
Back in the day when I was a deputy, you
It
just suck
wasn't.
it up, cowboy, and get over it.
Yeah.
And move on.
Absolutely.
And there was zero compassion for what we were dealing with.
Right.
And now it's much more readily accepted by the rank and file
For sure.
to ask somebody for help now. And I think most law enforcement agencies here in Arizona do a pretty good job at that these days,
Yeah.
especially compared to
What it
years
used
ago.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You had said something about starting that program. When do you think that program that you, like Tent City, we'll call it, when do you think that will roll out?
Well, I'm hoping sometime next year.
Okay.
My idea is to use shipping containers
Okay.
and put a awning over it, the
Gotcha.
top, to create shelter. And then what we will do is we will take all the inmates that have been sentenced,
Okay.
because they're volunteers,
Right.
and they're sentenced. And most people that were in Tent City wanted to be there,
Yeah,
as opposed to being locked down in a hard jail cell.
for sure.
So at least they were outside. They had access to the support building
Yep.
where they can go in, get in the air conditioning, stand in the shower if they wanted to
Right.
in the summer. There was TVs in there, and so it was more conducive to treating people,
Right.
talking to them, because I hate to say this word, but they were happier there. Nobody wanted to be there.
Right.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
But compared to, okay, I'm going to be locked down in a little cell all day for maybe get an hour a day out, as opposed to I'm going to be outside. Yeah, it's hot at night in the summer. Most of those individuals were working during the day, so they were in an air-conditioned building.
Right.
And I think that's gonna really help us in dealing with some of the issues. And the biggest issue was the programs that we ran in Tent City. The new administration came in, took the tents down, and people lost their jobs
Gotcha.
because we will also provide a work release, work furlough program, which what that means is somebody that gets sentenced to, let's say, 30 days in jail
Right.
on work release means that they can go to work and come back
And come back.
when they're done.
Yeah.
And they're not losing their job. Because the number one way to keep people out of jail is to keep them employed. And I think that's pretty important.
Absolutely.
And I had a lot of support. I'll tell you this fun story. When I was running for sheriff, I had a friend of mine I went to college with. He was a criminal defense attorney.
Okay.
And he called me about 2 years ago, and he says, "Hey, I heard you're running for sheriff again." I said, "Yeah, I am." He says, "Good, because we want to support you." And I says, "Who's we?" And he said, "Well, the criminal defense bar." And I said, "Robert, aren't most of you Democrats?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "I don't know of any Republicans in the criminal defense bar in my group." And I said, "Oh, why would you support me? I'm a Republican, you know that, right?" And they said, "Because we know how you ran the jails when you were the chief over the jails and the chief deputy. And those programs have gone away. Our clients are losing their jobs, and that's not a good thing." And I agree with them 100%.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main reasons I want to bring back that outdoor
Absolutely.
living environment. I don't know what else to call it. I can't call it Tent City anymore because they're not going to be tents. So I'm looking for a creative name.
Okay. I'll start
And,
thinking and email you.
And the alligator Alcatraz. I don't want to do anything like that. But I want to figure out a nice name where it won't turn people off.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that we can do too is if somebody gets sentenced to weekends,
Okay.
we can just put them in those facilities
Right.
on the weekends. So they're not losing their jobs. Once again, very important.
Are you going to bring back the pink boxers?
Well, pink boxers have always been there.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't even know that.
Yep. They never went away.
Oh.
And the black and white striped uniforms did, but we got our first batch of black and white striped uniforms, so that you'll be seeing them once again.
I love it.
But I wanted to phase out. I didn't want to waste those orange jumpsuits that they have now.
Yeah.
And because, taxpayer money.
For sure.
I'm very careful how we spend that.
I got you.
And so we'll be phasing in those black and white stripes. But they also play a practical reason.
For sure.
Is we had a call about 2 weeks ago in downtown Phoenix. Somebody was in that orange, kind of jumpsuit thing. And we got a call that there's an escaped prisoner out there. And it wasn't. It was just somebody that
It was a Halloween costume.
no, it wasn't quite an Halloween costume. But somebody had an orange shirt on and an orange pants.
Gotcha.
So, there's no doubt in the black and white stripes
For
who
sure.
they are.
For sure.
It's hard to walk away, to run away if you're wearing a black and white stripe as opposed to orange pants or an orange
I
shirt.
wore stripes when I was in there.
You
so,
did?
Yeah, it was, it's a good look.
Yeah.
Stripes are good. If you could reform one part of the system today, what would it be?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And I've kind of even put my political career at risk
Okay.
because, now I'm kind of a politician too.
Right.
Not just the sheriff. I have to run for election. So I supported Prop 409.
Okay.
And Prop 409 gives the county hospital 200 more mental health beds. And
Okay.
I think the core of a lot of the things that we're dealing with is people just don't know how to deal with their mental health issues.
For sure.
And so they self-medicate.
Absolutely.
So those additional 200 beds and the other things that the county hospital does and how closely we work with them with providing medical services for our inmates and all that is going to be critical. And I think that's probably the best way. But 200 beds really is just a drop in the bucket. And, of course, some of that goes to the counseling of, drugs and addiction issues also.
sure.
I mean, they're so intertwined together.
Yeah. There's so much. So much.
So we are very short on beds here in the state of Arizona.
Gotcha.
And I think that's a sad thing to say because, my goal is crime prevention.
Mm-hmm.
And as a law enforcement officer, that's top of my list.
For sure.
And so if we had more facilities, more beds to be able to treat people, if we had more halfway houses.
Mm-hmm.
So once an individual gets out of custody, and this really is attributed more to the state prison system.
Gotcha.
It's like I said, our average length of stay is 13, 14 days. So they have people on average, I think it's about 4 years.
Okay.
And so they need those transition beds a lot more than we do at the county sheriff level.
Right. Wow. Do you feel like MCSO and, DOC, they work together good, or do you guys not really, like you have your own thing and DOC has their own thing?
Yeah, pretty much. We have two different things because the length of stay of the people that we have in custody is completely different.
Gotcha.
We do have some people that sit in our jail for years and
Yeah.
years waiting to go to trial.
For sure.
And most of those are convicted, and then they'll go to state prison. But because our people are short tenured, we have to look at different programs. And some of those programs are getting people clothes. We have volunteers bring clothes in for them. And so when we
Gotcha.
release them, we can get them some decent clothes. It doesn't happen all the time,
Right.
but somebody that's been in our system for a little while, we teach them how to write a resume. A lot of people
I
don't
love
know how to
that.
write a resume.
For sure.
We help them with how to interview for a job. A lot of people don't know these skill sets.
Right.
And so we do a lot of those things, even though we don't have people for very long.
I got you. Well, again, I just really appreciate you coming out. One other thing I wanted to touch on is the overdoses in the jails. What are some things that you are working on to help this? Like, I know that it's hard. You're never going to keep the drugs out. It's the same thing in prison.
Right.
But what is some things that you are really working on to help the system?
Well, we're doing an awful lot.
Gotcha.
I know it really hadn't happened the last 8 years, but that was one of the main goals that I wanted to deal with because as the sheriff, I'm responsible for 4.7 million people here in
I was
Maricopa
going to say, you have
County,
a
right?
lot of people
That's
you're
a-
in
that's
charge
a lot.
of.
And so, especially the people that are in our custody,
Right,
are my top priority of keeping them safe.
right.
One of the best ways to keep them safe is keeping the contraband out.
Mm.
So every jail facility in the country every prison system in the country has a drug problem
Mm-hmm.
because people in custody, they're not stupid,
Right.
right? They're smart,
Right.
and they know how to get around the system.
Absolutely.
And so they bring in drugs any way they can.
Yeah.
We have attorneys bring drugs in.
It's sad.
We've had in the past some nursing staff bring it in.
Yeah.
Contractors can bring it in.
It's wild.
Very rare in the county jail system here in Maricopa County have we had officers bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
And in the almost 49 years I've been affiliated with MCSO, we've had 2 detention officers in 49 years.
Wow.
So while it is something we keep an eye on,
Absolutely.
I don't think it's the number one issue. The number one issue in the county jail is the prisoners themselves bringing the drugs
them
in.
in. For sure.
So we go through an extensive search process because don't forget, we get people fresh off the street.
Right.
Every law enforcement agency in Maricopa County, and there's 31 of them, brings somebody in off the street and books them into our facility. And we book about 220 people a day.
A day?
A day.
Wow.
And the most common way to bring it in is in a body cavity. They know they're going to jail. They put it in their body cavity. And it's probably no surprise or shock to you
I get it.
that most of the overdoses that we get are with the women
Yeah.
because they have more places
Well, more places they can hide it.
they can hide it.
For sure.
And so what we did do is we took some new x-ray machines. They've been
Okay.
up for maybe 2 months now
Okay.
that actually see into the body cavity,
Right.
and they can see the drugs in there. Matter of fact, we found a gun. It wasn't in a body cavity, but it was hidden pretty well
Wow.
on this individual when he came in about 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
So the x-ray machines is paying off. Probably within the first 2 hours, we found an individual that had, I think it was 50 pills,
Fentanyl pills.
fentanyl pills,
That would have taken
in
out
his
the whole.
in his bottom,
Mm.
and it has just proven very effective since then.
Right.
And so I think the word is starting to get out now because it's slowing down a little
Yeah.
bit
Good.
that this is what we're doing.
For sure.
So now they're finding them in the back seat of the patrol cars as they bring them in, that kind of stuff. But
Well, yeah, they don't want those new charges.
no, exactly right. So,
Yeah.
and we do charge them, either the arresting agency or we do
Got you.
charge them with the additional drug charges.
Good.
And it's a very serious felony to bring them into a detention facility.
Right.
So that's been working real well. One of the programs I started, I think it was back in 1999, was the Jail Intelligence Unit.
Okay.
And so the Jail Intelligence Unit, they talk to inmates. Inmates do talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And we find drugs coming in that way.
Okay.
And, the other thing is when there's fights in a housing unit,
Yeah.
there's got to be a reason for that,
Right.
right? And it's usually over contraband,
Mm-hmm.
right? Somebody owes me money,
Yep.
you took the drugs, you didn't
For
pay
sure.
me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we always take a good look at that. We have detectives that are called jail crimes detectives,
Okay.
and that's all they do is deal with the crimes that happen inside the jail system.
Got you.
And I think drugs is one of the biggest issues that they deal with.
For sure. For sure.
And, again, because the safety and well-being of every one of those 7,500 inmates is a top priority for me
Yeah.
as the sheriff. Keeping everybody safe is a top priority,
For sure.
and especially those individuals that are in our care, custody, and control.
Yeah. And like I said, the overdoses, I really do hope that the detectives are, because I tell these girls when I go in there, please don't do drugs in here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're getting. You know what I mean? And I know that these girls, because I just talked to them on Sunday about it, you don't know what you're getting. You have literally watched girls in this pod take something and they've overdosed, they've died. Like it's not safe.
No, it's not. And
You know?
one of the things that I've been struggling with is a new system. It's basically kind of like a smartwatch
Okay.
that we will implement. We ordered 2,000 of them finally, going through the
Yeah.
government bureaucratic process of
All that good
getting
stuff.
them approved and a vendor and
Right.
all these things. So they're finally will be on their way soon.
Okay.
And they will have the CHS staff, the correctional health,
Yes.
our nursing staff, our doctors, providers, will have direct access to see an individual, their heart rate,
I was
their
going to
breathing
say their
rate,
heart rate, all
how
that.
long they've been still, those kinds of things.
Okay.
So it's kind of like an early warning system
Yes.
because their health and well-being is important
It's
to
important.
all of us. Yeah.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you. One last thing. I know this job is so hard and can be dark and heavy. I think you kind of really already touched on this, but providing the support for your deputies and staff who have faced the trauma and burnouts too. I know that you guys, it's hard. You need officers for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You need, yeah.
Well, I say this all the time. The detention officers that work in the jails and the officers that work in the state prison system, they're the most important part of the criminal justice system.
They are.
Because they are tasked with keeping these people safe while they're in
Right.
custody. And we can't fail. And if we do, it's usually somebody is going to either perish or become sick or beat up or something like
Right.
that. And so it's very important for those officers, for their mental health, to get that training like you're talking about. I came up with an idea about 2 years ago, and something that I remember I went to a class. It was a Rocky Mountain Leadership Institute in Colorado, and it was a 5-day class. And the one day they brought a comedian in.
Mm-hmm.
They taught us how to relax.
Yeah.
They taught us some stress techniques, and I'm planning on bringing that back
I
for
love
staff.
that.
And that is really what I'm going to target. Most of the people that have been here 5 years or more, or maybe every 5 years will do it, and just to kind of re-educate them that this is why we started this career in the
Right.
first place, and kind of recharge their batteries
Absolutely.
and teach them those techniques to be able to relieve that stress that every one of them has.
Absolutely.
The heroes in life to me are deputy sheriffs, police officers, state troopers, and all those people that work in a custody setting, because they're the ones that do their job every day, day in and day out. And all of us, everyone in this community is so reliant upon them doing a good job. Because one of the things I always tell, especially the new detention officers, I say, those people in custody, you know where they came from? They're our family, they're our friends, and they're our neighbors.
Right.
And so we need to be able to realize that. Some of them are very evil. Some of them need to be locked up for the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
Or, the ultimate penalty. I'm fine with all that. But most of the people in there, probably there because they have an addiction problem.
Yeah.
They did stupid things because of that addiction problem.
Right.
And to have some empathy for all of them. And to treat people right, the
Right.
golden rule.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was going to be my last question is, what do you do to help deal with your mental health? Because like you said, you're in charge of 4.7 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you stay sane and...
So I have a great wife.
Okay.
We've been together 37 years.
Aw,
And she's always been at my side.
gotcha.
She comes from a law enforcement family herself, so she understands.
Gotcha.
And matter of fact, next week we're going to Death Valley for a week
Nice.
because I do a lot of photography, and that's really how I deal with it.
Okay.
You know, the horses.
Yeah.
If I'm stressed out, I need to make some phone calls. I go sit down by the horses,
Mm.
and it's just like my happy place.
Equine therapy.
And then, yep.
Yeah.
And the photography, I have old school.
Okay.
I don't have a digital camera, so I have a dark room at the house. It's got its own air conditioning.
Wow.
You know, that nice amber light. Put
Yeah.
on some nice music and make some art. And that's how I deal with it
I
personally.
love that.
Plus, I have a very supportive family. My dad's 90. He's going to be 95 in a couple of
Wow.
months. And he's been my hero all my life.
Mm,
And so I still sit, talk to him every day.
that's awesome.
And, you know, so again, it's the family thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know my two daughters were pretty proud of what I've done with my career.
For sure.
Yeah. So all of those things together, family is probably the number one, and then, you know, the horses and photography.
I love that. Well, thank you again for being here, and more importantly, just being willing to have this conversation. You know, I know that you guys deal with a lot, so I really appreciate you. To everybody that is listening, if you are struggling, please reach out. Crossroads has our facility, our corporate office, 2002 East Osborne Road. We are open Monday through Saturday. We take all access plans, all commercial insurance, and you don't even have to have insurance. So if you're struggling, reach out. Again, Sheriff, thank you so much for coming on. And with that, I'll pass. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Recovery on Air, the official podcast of Crossroads Addiction Rehabilitation, with your host, Christin Day. Join us next time as we continue our candid discussions about addiction and recovery. Listen 24/7 anytime to this or any of our shows online at starworldwidenetworks.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.